Hey y'all, my name is Craig Howat. I'm a hotel, restaurant, tourism teacher here at the Satellite Center. I teach juniors and seniors in high school, and I am submitting the French Quarter Walking Tour Project, or the Vieux Carré Walking Tour Project, for the Best in Network Award. I'm going to go ahead and walk through the 6 days rubric with you for this project. So the first day is authenticity, and I think for this project, this is an exemplary project for authenticity. It is a real project that the students are actually learning information and gathering information through their research, and then they're presenting to a real audience. In the fall, they present this to fourth graders, that's their clients, and in the spring, they present this to their peers, another group of students that come down from Indiana. It's a new tech school from Indiana that comes down, and they give this walking tour to them. So I feel like the real connections are there. They also, during the research stage, and I'll get into this a little bit more when we get into adult connections, they work with the National Park Rangers at the New Orleans Jazz National Historical Park. So National Park Rangers teach them. They also work with some tour guides and the tour guide trainer at Destrehan Plantation as well. All right, so for academic rigor, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and read to you the driving question, and I'm also going to read to you the little problem statement that the students focus on. And I would say during that, you'll kind of see. It keeps the kids, it's very broad. It allows them to get deep into their learning, which we'll talk about in applied learning. So the driving question: how does tourism engage a targeted audience while focusing on learning and entertainment? So they've got to gather that information, but they also have to be able to teach that information and do it while engaging their audience or entertaining their audience. The problem statement is, how can we as tour guides create and deliver an entertaining and engaging tour of the Vieux Carré, highlighting the history and culture of the city of New Orleans and the people who live here, so that the clients, whether it's the fourth graders or their peers, can apply that context to their life or to the social studies curriculum standards that they're learning at the time. So that is that's the academic rigor. I will add too that I think a lot of critical thinking is put in by the team members, because part of the topics that they have to touch on and the opinions and viewpoints, regarding war, regarding slavery, these are some very delicate topics, and they're teaching others about that. So it involves a lot of critical thought into that academic rigor. All right, so the next day is applied learning, and I think for applied learning, the juniors and seniors that come to me, none of them have given a walking tour before. So there's zero foundational knowledge. We have to build that through scaffolding. And one of the ways, or several of the ways we do that, we begin by actually having them just research one destination. They take that destination, they then have to present that information to their peers down in the French Quarter on a day that we actually go and participate in a walking tour. So we're gathering information from a professional tour guide as well, the National Park Rangers at the New Orleans Jazz National Historical Park. So they'll talk to the students, and then the students also presenting information. So they're gathering that information, and then they have to turn around and create a tour that has 6 different destinations. So they're only starting with one piece of information, but eventually they have to present a tour that has 6 pieces. So it basically requires them to hold their own timelines together and to organize their materials, because they start with just one, but they got to be able to gather 6, put all those 6 together into this tour guide. They also put together little student passports, and they create different things. So rather than having to memorize all the information that they're having to deliver, it's keeping the students engaged. So this is an example of a timeline that they created with some important dates. So rather than having to memorize, all the different dates on here, their tour guide, they can have an envelope prepared that maybe has a question in there. Hey, what happened on this date at this time or at this location? And the students have to search the timeline for that. So as far as the applied learning is concerned, I think it requires them to maintain their timelines. They have to be organized, because the 12 different tours that are going on during the day, they have to create a destination management plan so they're not bumping into each other and all those things. So there's pieces of the project that they have to be able to do. If not, it's going to be a complete failure. So the next day is the active exploration. How do they get this information? What do they do to explore this project, to be able to deliver this project? I do not tell them what destinations they have to visit, but I give them about 24 to 30 different ideas of historical places that they can research. They then get that information, whether it's through the National Park Rangers when we go down there that day, through one of the ladies over at Destrehan Plantation that talks to the students about some historical information and teaches them about being a tour guide, or it could be some of the textbooks that we have in the class, or online research. So there's plenty of opportunities for the students to actively explore and to create their walking tour. Their requirements are they have to have 6 destinations, and it has to meet a 2-hour time requirement. So that's part of what the teachers set for the students, and they have to create their walking tour to meet those standards. All right, guys, the next 6 days is the adult connections. So this project begins with the future tour guides, my students, learning how to be a tour guide from a professional tour guide. So it's the person over at the park rangers over at the Jazz National Historical Park. It's also the docent and tour guide trainer from Destrehan Plantation who meets with them and talks to them. So they're gathering information on how to be a tour guide. And then the other critical part to this is they actually work with the 4th grade teachers, and the 4th grade teachers talk to them about the 4th grade attention span and talk to them about how to engage the students. So to me, those are some big pieces that our students, our future tour guides, are learning how to deliver this information professionally, how to keep it engaging, how to keep it entertaining, and most of all, how to make it educational, that their clients are learning from this. The last 6 A's is the assessment practices, and with this I would like to focus on a couple of things that they're doing throughout the project. So number one, throughout the project, they're grading each other. When they do their individual research for their very first destination that they select, they're grading each other on their oral communication skills that they turn around and present when we're down there for the first day. They're also grading each other on how they're creating their walking tour. Do they make their 6 little envelopes with their information, and do they set their little passport up for their clients? Do they have their timeline and all those pieces of information? So they're grading each other on the collaboration and oral communication skills throughout the project. They're also involved in being graded on the project through this comment card. So the comment card is given to their clients, and their clients grade them on this, similar to the hospitality and tourism industry. It's modeled after that. So after you go on a walking tour of New Orleans, you can fill out a comment card. Well, my students have to be graded the same way. So their clients grade them on appearance, personality, communication skills, and then their knowledge and content that they delivered through the project. And then they also do a final assessment, a little final reflection. What did they feel were their strengths? What were their challenges? If they did the project again, what would they look into or do differently? This is the first time we do the project, and then in the spring we do the project for some peers. A group from a new tech school from Indiana comes down.